Welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations with Kire. This is your host, Kire Senoj. And on this week, my guest will be actor extraordinaire Christian Frazier. But now, thank you for joining, and do not forget to follow me on Facebook at Candid Conversations. That's Kandid, Konb as a Victor, Ersations. Candid Conversations. So I want to start the show off with something I should have done last week, and that's to discuss the transformation of me and the show, my show. So Candid Conversations came about actually 2015. One evening, I was working. I used to work for a transit company when I lived in Chicago, and the words came to me, and then the vision came to me, and I wrote it down, sitting in my booth, and I wrote everything out. So now it's coming into fruition. I've manifested this. But the purpose of the show is not just for me to sit here and talk shit and do what I love to do, but it's to inspire, encourage, motivate. That's the purpose, especially in these times, because right now we all need a little bit of encouragement. We all need to be motivated to get up and do something. And I just want to inspire people with myself and with the guests that I bring onto the show. So today's guest is no exception to that. He is very inspiring. He is an actor. He is a producer. He is a motivational speaker. He's a mental health advocate. He's a spokesperson for diabetes. He is a real estate agent. He's a mental health spokesperson. He's a nutritional and a life coach. Part-time superhero. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring on to the show Christian Frazier.
To follow up an introduction like that. Thank you so much, Kyrie, for having me on the show. We have been talking about it for a while, so to actually finally get it to come to fruition is awesome. So again, thank you. And we just here tonight to just talk, chat, and have a good time.
Exactly. Talk, chat, and have a good time. So how are you doing in these times?
Well, I hate the pandemic.
Like we all
I hate
do.
the current administration. And hold up, say her name, Breonna
Taylor.
Say
Yes.
her name, seriously.
Breonna Taylor, yes.
I'm just as stressed out as everybody else because although I have all of those titles and I do a lot, and it's weird because it's funny, I didn't realize until later in life that my brain was weird, like it was different. Seriously, like limited to like 2% of the population. And I went to one of the when I joined the military, I scored so high on the ASVAB test that they said you could do anything you want to do. And I went to the top school in the Navy, but I didn't realize that it was like the second top rated technical school in the world next to MIT. I didn't know that until recent years. And I was like, I knew it was easy for me to study, but I didn't know that it was kind of like it was that rare, like 2 to 3% of the population. So like if you have an IQ of 120 or more, that means that you could actually do anything. Like you could study anything, you could do it, you could understand it, and like so it's interesting. It was something that I found out later on in life.
So to add to your resume, so then you're super intelligent. And I forgot to mention, you're a veteran, you said that. But also a stand-up comedian. Now, do you still do stand-up comedy?
Oh man, so I do comedy all the time, like when I'm like with groups of people on the weekend. Like I don't really like the idea of going to comedy clubs like around the country and touring in places like Alabama and eating like fast food like all the time, because that's all they got, and living in roach motels and stuff like that. So like I've done comedy in New York, and the first time that I actually did it in New York City, like New York Comedy Club. And what they do is you have to bring a certain amount of people to be able to perform. You have to bring like 15 people. So you got to bring 15 people before you even walk up on the stage. And then when you're there, there's an industry person who is like,
Sure.
critiquing your whole show. So the industry person that day was the casting director for the Chris Rock show. So she worked with Chris Rock, JB Smoove, Wanda Sykes. And after I did my first stand-up show, she said, "Dude, you are so funny." She was like, "You did an amazing job." And I was like, it was my first time. She was like, I couldn't tell. And it really gave me
Sure.
all the confidence and everything that I needed to like keep doing comedy. And you know the old saying that he said, if you can make it in New York City,
You can make
you
it
can make
anywhere.
it anywhere. But I feel like that's my family. Like my family, like we're just a bunch of comedians. Like that's us.
Nice. So right,
I
but
think
you
we're
are an
bigger than the
act.
Wayans.
Is it as
Because I
many of
have,
you all as
'cause it's like I have 11 brothers and sisters.
wow. And what number are you?
So I'm the second to the youngest. And so all of my, brothers and sisters are in their 70s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
There's
like a
a,
big
there's
generation.
a, there's a fun fact I never knew. So
And then
now,
and
like
then
I said,
and
yeah.
then I'm about to have my daughter's having twins, so this gonna be like 7 grandkids for me.
Okay, so it's number 7. Okay, because I was gonna mention that like you have 4 kids and 7 grands, but you don't look that old. But you know, black doesn't crack.
Well,
Black don't
that's
crack.
my hashtag. Black don't crack unless you smoke it. Now I saw Marlon use that because look, I'm telling you right now, I'm a comedian. I've had comedians use my stuff, but what are you gonna do? Complain about it? You know what I'm saying? Like that's to me, it's like the highest compliment when comedians. I've seen a few comedians use some of my material from online.
But but is it a compliment even if they don't pay for it or acknowledge where they got it from?
I mean, give an example. What are you gonna do? Sue them? I mean, it's just not.
That's
I mean, and like give an example. If a big comedian who's got a big name and my name is not as big, like who are you gonna do? It's just it don't really. It's just like it's not even worth the effort. So to me, it's like, yo, he stole my joke. Right? That means it was funny as hell. That's how I look
yeah.
at it.
Well, now I've seen an interview with Mark Curry, and he was talking about how Steve Harvey stole one of his bits. Now, those are two big name comedians, so I guess it's just evolving, appealing.
Yeah, and maybe sometimes it just might roll off the head like you heard it, and you just might just do it because it's just like, oh, I just used somebody else's joke. Like, oh, too late. I get it. So it's all good.
Oh, cool. Okay. So now, like I said, you are an actor and slash producer. So how has this pandemic affected your acting, your
Oh man, it
jobs?
dropped the whole industry. Like it came to a screeching halt, and the industry is really just starting to come back right now. Like they're
Right.
they're just starting to announce productions. A lot of productions going back into production right now, but it has really changed the industry a lot. Like a lot of the people who like our industry probably has maybe a couple of 100,000 like background actors, and a
Hmm.
lot of those guys, their work is going to be like. I mean, I started out doing a lot of background work. It was kind of like how I learned, doing extra work, kind of like learning my way around the set, and that's how I learned like the technical parts of the set. But a lot of those guys are not going to have work because they significantly reduced the requirements for background, and they're trying to like use the crew for the extra work and the behind the scenes so that they don't have to bring as many people on set because of COVID-19. And then a lot
Right.
of shows are doing what we call like a bubble. So like if you get hired on a show, you have to go and you have to stay in a certain place until you're wrapped.
I've heard of
So,
that.
you can't just be going back home and back and forth and everything like that, and then coming back and exposing everybody on the set. So it
Right.
has drastically changed the business, and just like everybody else, a lot of people have to reinvent themselves.
Right. Now I've heard that because Tyler Perry is in production. Like one of his shows is done. Two of the shows I guess are done. But like they have to do COVID testing. Like I think 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah,
Like
they
every
do
other
COVID
day.
testing, they do temperature testing.
Right.
So, and they have a whole like procedure and guidelines that they put out way before. I mean, this was put out a couple months ago before they even started. And they've always been updating and adding information as far as like the COVID guidelines. So just like every other industry is really affected. But the funny thing about the television industry is that if we're not working, then in the fall, like right now, there's no fall premieres like we're used to. So it's like this big
Right.
gap in TV and stuff to watch. So like I'm even like, cause I watch a lot of TV. I'm in the industry, but I watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of movies. So and that's not every actor, because I know a lot of actors who don't watch TV, but I say that's why you're not in it. Um, but so I watch a lot of TV and I'm missing a lot of stuff, and it's kind of just hurting my like entertainment.
Yeah. Now I know
And
the people that I
movies,
know.
like
People that I know
I
in the
wanted
industry,
to
they do
watch
watch.
Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman is probably, all of these movies are being delayed to like 2021 because the movie theaters in COVID-19. So it's like, ugh.
But didn't they just do Wonder Woman?
Hmm?
Didn't they just do Wonder Woman?
Yeah, I mean, so there's the sequel that is released. I mean, it's the movie is completed, but they don't want to release it online. They want to wait until the movie theaters,
No.
because that messes up the whole financial, model of Hollywood and everything the way they do. So they have, Hollywood is funny because it has a whole model and everything. Like it's got to be a certain way. So I feel like that's why a lot of black actors don't fit well in the Hollywood, because they just, it,
Yeah.
just like the rest of America, they don't really give us a lot of love.
Right. Now you say you watch TV a lot. Do you watch it as a spectator or fan, or do you watch it as an actor to like critique?
So when you work in the business and like all the technical stuff of the business, you watch with such a critical eye. Like I'm looking at everything. I'm analyzing the storytelling. I'm
Mhm.
analyzing the production value, and the special effects. So I'm looking at it all like, okay, yeah. So I am judging it, and then I'm looking at the acting, as like being in class, just kind of like looking at the skills. Like to me, like looking at Lovecraft was like, man, the lead actor's so amazing. It's just like looking at what he's doing and everything like that. It's like being in class. So I definitely, as an actor, look at TV differently. And being an actor is or working in the industry is very important that you do watch a lot of TV. Now, again,
Okay.
I have talked to a lot of actors that say, I don't watch TV, like, but
I've never
if
heard no one
you
say
don't,
that.
first of all, like I have seen actors that go into auditions and the casting director say, okay, do you watch the show? And they say no. You're automatically like, no, you're
But
not
why would
getting.
you audition? But why would you audition for something you don't even watch? You're not
So,
gonna know how
so
to do the
like
job.
as an actor, for me, it's very important that you not only do your research, like you should do your research on the show, the director, the producer, understand the pacing of the show and how it works. Uh, I always use this as a prime example. Uh, Shonda Rhimes show, on ABC, Kerry
Which
Washington,
one? Oh, Scandal. Okay.
Scandal has a unique pacing. So if I go into a Scandal audition, and I go in trying to do it the way that I want to do it, not
Not gonna work.
understanding their pacing, because they speak really fast and very very intently. It's very, it's serious. It's intense.
Yeah, tense.
So
Yeah, very.
if you don't understand the pacing of the show and what's going on, you're gonna fuck up that audition. It's just
Right.
not. It's not. You're gonna bomb.
Because
And
you wouldn't flow with the cast, and it's not gonna. It wouldn't even make sense.
And then I feel like it's also very important because the character that you're playing against. Now, I'll give a prime example. I auditioned for Gotham like 10 times.
I was gonna get
In
to
our
that. Okay.
industry, it takes a lot of times to audition for a show. Like I had a friend that auditioned for a show 18 times before he got a role, and he was a series regular on the show.
Well, at least you got it. Okay.
So, but really, for the average person, when you get rejected 18 times, it's like what? So it takes a lot of tenacity and persistence to work in our industry because rejection is the name of the game.
That's the part of it. That's the part of it.
Right in your face. It's right in your face. You know, like it's so. But I auditioned for Gotham. It's very important that you understand the characters on the show because I auditioned for a scene with to play opposite Fish Mooney, Jada Pinkett.
Yeah.
And I really wanted that. And I was a little mad that I didn't get it. I really was. I was sore. I was mad. I was like, because I had already worked with Will and Jaden on this movie After Earth, and I had, hung out with them for a whole week. And it was funny because, that movie was a spaceship movie. It didn't do too well. I didn't really like it. I'm going to be honest with you. Like everything that I work on, I don't like it. It wasn't a good movie. I love the director, you know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. But, we worked on the movie. I was hanging out with Will Smith, and then me, Will, and Jaden all on the spaceship, and I ended up in the trailer of the movie, right? So Will was like, damn, this must be the back of the spaceship because all the black people back here. So it was like, it was fun. And Jaden was like a really respectable young kid. He walked up to me. He said, hi, my name is Jaden. Like I didn't know who he was. He was like really respectable and not really what you would perceive him to be from what you see on social media and the news.
Right. Right. So now, with you saying that, you didn't like it. Did you ever take roles that you just don't want to do, but you just take it for the hell of it, or just take it for the check or whatever?
No.
You don't? Okay.
I definitely don't. I don't like the roles that perpetuate a stereotype. I'm not doing it. Like, I remember somebody offered me a role about a guy that had 31 kids. I was like, no! It's not happening. So if it's a stereotype, role, I'm not going to do it. But it really just depends on the project, and it depends on my ability to expand, my acting skills a little bit more. Because really, I feel like people have seen very little of what I could do as far as acting, because they try to give you the same types of roles over and over again. We get typecast, and it's cool to be typecast in the industry. Like if you play a cop and they want you as a cop all the time, cops are on every show. That means you're working.
Yeah.
Some people think that it's a bad thing, but it really there's this one guy. He played a criminal in like 10 movies. There's this one actor. He played his character name was Hector in like 15 movies.
But is that really a good thing? Because to me, it seems like you'll be the same character. Like it's an actress. I won't call her name, but to me, she's like the same person in every movie.
Well, the truth of the matter is that when they hire, I'll give you a perfect example. Denzel Washington. They want Denzel Washington to bring himself into that role. So the character it's really Denzel Washington creating this character, but it's really a lot of him. So you see that a lot, and that's what happens. They hire the same actors because they know that they can deliver this type of character, and it is what it is, and it's a good thing. It's definitely not a bad thing. Some actors see it as a bad thing, but it is a good thing when a casting director says, "I know that such and such can do this," and sometimes they get into the habit of it. They start writing roles specifically for you.
Right. So. Was this acting? Was this a childhood dream or something you always wanted to do?
Not at all. I kind of fell into it. I was looking for AT&T in Orlando, Florida, knocking on doors, and I was working small, medium, and big businesses. So I had these small businesses, and I had big customers like Ticketmaster,
Mm-hmm.
and I was knocking on doors, and this talent agent, she was like, "Yo, you should get some pictures in here." Honestly, she was like, "We don't have enough black men here in Central Florida, and we could put you to work." I was like, "Wow, okay." I didn't really like jump on it, and I think it was about 6 weeks later, I submitted some pictures, and then they started sending me out on Disney commercials and Universal Studio commercials. My whole family was going, and then I kind of I liked it, but then when I worked on this movie Out of Time with Denzel Washington. So
I know
everybody
that
knows
movie.
I'm a big Superman fan,
Yeah.
and Dean Cain was there that day, from Lois and Clark. So I
Right.
got to hang out with Dean Cain and, be there with Denzel Washington doing his thing. And we were shooting, the movie was based in Miami, but we were shooting a scene in Sarasota on the water. And there was no production like truck for food. So we ate at this expensive restaurant on the water. And I thought that that's how you ate in the movie business every day. I was like, I'm sold, I'm hooked. Like, this is it. And then let alone I know, like, I get to work in the business, like, some of them, they try to slip you bologna sandwiches, so it's not the same.
Right.
But I got hooked, in the whole process. And then as I continued to work in the business, it continued to just draw me in the whole, creative process. And then I understood that my personality is actually drawn to industries like the entertainment industry.
Yeah, because you have a big personality. So, yeah. So in New York, have you ever done Broadway or theater, or just strictly television?
I've actually done theater. I didn't do a lot of theater because when I got into the business, it was later in life, and theater doesn't pay a lot of money. I think we just drop and go back again.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, but you're back. Come on, we're back.
Yeah, we're back. So I'm gonna wait a little bit so the subscribers can log back in.
Okay. Yeah.
Look, that's gonna give me time to refresh my drink.
Uh, okay.
Straight,
So
no chasing.
wait a minute, 1 second. So oh, is
Okay, we're back live again. Let me let me
very
let me
loud.
share. Let me reshare this stream.
Yes, we're back live. Yeah, we're
I'm
back.
glad that you're drinking water.
Trying to say we're
I,
back.
I drank my 8 cups of water today.
Uh,
8 cups a day.
a water.
You're
I'm
supposed to
working
get
on it.
8 cups of water a day.
Well, this is actually Crystal Light, but I'm working on it.
But just some straight clear water with
Yeah,
no
right. No
flavor.
Crystal Light.
Drink some water. It's good for you. It's good for your skin.
It is.
That's how
It
you.
is.
That's how the black don't crack work. Drinking a lot of water.
Well, I don't think I look too bad, but yeah,
No, I'm just saying though. But you wanna
right.
you wanna maintain. I'm trying to tell everybody, maintain. It's so good for you. Plus, if you wanna like get ripped, you wanna add
Yeah.
muscle, you gotta have water.
Speaking of, okay, we'll get to that after this. So, you said you did theater. Okay. What, you did Broadway or you just did regular theater?
So yeah, I did a little Broadway, but then again, Broadway doesn't pay a lot of money, so I really didn't invest a lot of time in it. And even Denzel Washington said, "Hey, I'm doing this for my skills, not for the money, because it don't pay a lot of money. So compared to what he's used to getting for a film, it's
Yeah.
penny, So, and a lot of times in New York, unless you're like a big name, they want you to do a lot of stuff for free. They call it, I want you to work for exposure. I was like, man, exposure don't pay my cell phone bill.
Right.
I
It
said,
ain't gonna pay.
if you don't give me no money, I'm gonna be exposed to the elements.
Free ain't paying that high ass rent in New York.
Yeah, yeah, and then New York got, man. I feel like it costs a lot of money just to live every day in New York. Like you go through $100 quick, $150 a day, just like
Sounds like LA.
yeah, exactly. That's why I don't live in LA.
So now, when you say well, you want to be rich, okay, because you're a fitness expert as well. Now I know you lost 70 pounds. Yeah.
Thank
Now,
you.
did you
So
lose
I
that
went
for
to New York.
health? Was that for health purposes or was that for your acting skills, or both?
Both.
Okay.
I went to New York and I started working on movies. I was working on this TV show actually for CBS. It was produced by Robert De Niro, but it got canceled like the first night.
Dang.
But we shot 12 episodes, so I worked on it for like 7 or 8 months. We
Okay.
shot all 12, or actually 22 episodes. So we shot a bunch of episodes. And in the movie industry, like, there's a lot of people with food. There's a crafty table. It's got a lot of snacks. It's got a lot of stuff that you're not supposed to eat. And then there's a guy on that set. There was a guy walking around with sandwiches like every hour and a half. So like literally my first year moving back to New York City working on sets, I gained 80 pounds in 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went from like, he's like, oof. It's like Nutty Professor, like seriously. So, and people were like, damn. Like, and then, like when I'm walking down the street, it was like surprising. People like, hey, big dude. I'm like, what you talking to? So I was like, yo. And I was like, no, this is not. And then I'm diabetic, and my diabetes was out of control as well. And also, I kept getting called in for these, like, like I was big, but then I was working out, so I was a little muscular. So we're like, we're looking for the rock type, security type, enforcer type. But those guys don't normally have a lot of lines.
Right.
And I'm a star, you get your own chair, well, you get your own chair as a co-star, but you treat it a little different. You get paid a little more. Your name goes in the credits at the top of the show. So it's just like a whole different, like thing. And
It's a
then
whole
once you
different vibe.
level, you don't go back.
Right. Now, how long have you kept it off? How long have you kept off the 70 pounds?
This has been 5 years now.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I ended up being on the front page of the New York Post. They were looking for New Yorkers that had amazing weight loss stories. So I was there, and it really did make a big difference in my auditions and everything. Like I started auditioning more for leading roles. I feel like it's very unfortunate because guys, because like I have a few friends who are, they're like big guys, they're solid, they're stocky, but they don't even get the opportunity to audition for like the love interest or anything like that because they don't even see them as that type, because normally the person who's the casting director is like a 20-something-year-old, Caucasian girl, and she just don't see, big, thick developed man as love interest, and the demographics don't match up, so you just don't get the opportunities, and it's sad, but it's
real sad.
the reality of our business, and our business is as much as it is exciting, it can be a very sad business as well. And you see, actors all the time that have committed suicide, because
Right.
it can really, if you let it can really mess with your head.
Yeah, depression will set in from that. Now,
Just just being denied every day based upon the way you look or whatever it is, like that's hard to take. That's a hard pill to swallow.
That's the person. Now, what you saying? You're with the lead role. Speaking of that, so this is your latest project, Cerebral.
So since COVID-19 came into place, I was like, man, everything stopped, came to a screeching halt. So I decided that I was going to make something. And I've been wanting to do my own stuff anyway. So I was like, you know what, let me do this. So I came up with this idea, Cerebral, which is kind of like loosely based on me a little bit. And the whole idea is about a telekinetic empath who had a vision of the coronavirus before it happened. And he starts getting some help from an unlikely source, which is the cat, which is really like. So the star of the show, I've been getting a lot of feedback about the cat. It was like, yo, the cat should get an Emmy. Like
that's my favorite character, the cat.
He's a cat kid is what I call him. So like, I'm trying to get him some Purina commercials. So the cat is his friend's cat. But look, I'm serious. I'm trying to like, yo, let me get some Purina commercials to get that commission off the top. But it was it's funny, and it's actually going to get funnier because we have this telepathic connection, and we just established it at the last scene of the first episode. So the second episode is going to come out this weekend, and we're going to expand more into that. And again, it's going to be a little bit funny, but a lot of people have been giving us a lot of good feedback. One of the casting directors in New York City said, "Man, make sure the television networks don't steal it." I was like, "Well, they can't." But that was, to me, that was considered to be high praise.
All right, Kwame, let everybody, we're going to take a look right here at Cerebral. Look at this trailer. Roll it, Kwame.
World grapples with the coronavirus.
Do we have what we need to fix?
Even the bad ones.
It's a matter of me.
What would you do if you could feel all the anger, fear, sadness, and pain around you? What would you do?
What's the matter with me?
How would you feel?
I think I'm stuck in the drain.
I always knew that I was different growing up. Just didn't realize how different.
Don't stop if you sleep in the desert. Better settle with the sound you get. The sound you get. Got away with the pocket and make believe. Burning lungs that you're planning on trading for a feeling that you'll never leave. You'll never leave.
We all use many different ways to cope. This is mine. I have to get off the sidelines and get into the fight.
I like that. I like the show.
Thank you.
So good. So this weekend is episode 2.
Yeah, it's and again we've gotten like really good feedback. It's been exciting. Um, we got 4 episodes total, and then we're gonna see what kind of interest if we want to do some more, and then we're gonna go on to the next project because I got a bunch of projects lined up. But again, I started doing this because the epidemic was going on, and I wanted to do something that I can only have one character and not a lot of locations, and I have to worry about the logistics of everything. So I came up with that whole idea, and it's been really well received, and I'm really happy with it. And what a lot of people don't know is that I actually shot that on my cell phone.
Wow. And it's not an iPhone. Wow. There's a private joke from
I
before.
shot it on my Samsung. So I bought this phone like a year ago that was a little bit ahead of the game. Like it was already 5G before 5G came out, and it had like 6 cameras. And I was like, "Yo, that's me." I like to be ahead of the curve. I'm a techie, seriously. Like I went to school for computer network and engineering, so like I'm a geek.
I was about to say,
So I
you're
like
good.
stuff, and so I'm always trying to be on the cutting edge. So like I love to talk to like I have friends who are like geeks, and we like to talk about cameras and lenses and all of that kind of stuff. So I bought that, and it really has been working well for me. So I'm hoping that Samsung gives me the latest phone so I can film some more stuff.
They should. Yeah, they should. But because time, I want to get into some of your other things. That your motivational videos that you can catch my eye. One of them that I saw you did was on YouTube. You were talking about loneliness. Um, can you go into that a little bit? Because maybe you want to encourage somebody here. Because sometimes a lot of people go through loneliness and they just never say it.
Well, loneliness is a really big problem, not just in America, but the entire world. Like even the UK had to assign a minister of loneliness recently. I think it was about 2 years ago. And it
Yeah.
was an epidemic before the coronavirus. It's been actually linked to more deaths in cigarettes and auto accidents because loneliness brings on a lot of physical ailments like diabetes. Like stress causes diabetes, so you can get diabetes, and you can have high blood pressure. There's a lot of different physical ailments that come along with loneliness, and it's a serious problem. So I've tried to just address the issue, and I like to talk about solutions that you can use when you're feeling lonely, because it's really affecting a lot of us. And I even saw another study recently that talked about how like almost like half of America is single as well. And then you add the pandemic and the quarantine on top of that, it adds to the loneliness. So even the statistics from the National Association of Mental Health are probably different now than they were a year ago.
Wow. So with that, because I know you're motivation speaker. So now, what made you do a video for that?
Well, I always knew that I had a calling to minister and to help people, and sometimes it's through laughter. I'm a comedian,
Yes.
but it actually provides a lot of healing, and I call it kind of like reality comedy. When I talk about a lot of stuff that's real, like some of my comedy is about diabetes, like being in the middle of sex and having low blood sugar, like oh shit, like like damn, like I don't have no energy, like baby, you need to give me some donuts and some orange juice, like real quick, if we want to continue this thing. So like but I use like comedy to talk about real issues, and sometimes it actually really breaks through when people are, talking, about traditional therapy and traditional methods, which may be boring. And then when we talk about the LGBT community, when we talk about the Black community, we talk about any type of minorities, we are not really used to talking about mental illness, and we are falling by the wayside because a lot of movies, a lot of books, have perpetuated this stereotype that mental hospitals and mental health professionals are designed to hurt you and everything. So
Yeah.
really, in our subconscious, it really has affected us, and we don't talk about mental health. We just start addressing it because our community is plagued by mental health issues, and it's one of the reasons why we can't really have successful relationships, because we're plagued by mental health issues that actually self-sabotage and destroy our relationships.
Yes. So now, with that, because I said you're also, so your motivational speaks, do they come from personal things, or do they just come from something that just is given, like Spirit will give you something to talk about?
Well, I'm more than just a motivational speaker. I'm an ordained minister. Like, I've been ordained for 15 years. I used to pastor a church in Central Florida. A lot of people don't know. So I used
Wow.
to be an assistant pastor at a church, and then I pastored another church. So, and I've been to seminary. Like, I have studied the word. Like, I'm not just playing with it,
Okay.
because that's what I was taught. Look, don't get up there with no, look, if you're not coming with a message, it's a mess. And so
I've
don't
heard
come
that.
with no mess. So you
I've
better
heard that.
you better know what you're talking about. And then also, because you never know if it's a scholar in your audience, you up there talking about a bunch of mess. So and I'm that guy who's a scholar in the audience. So when I go to churches, I be like, man,
Wow. So John Alexander Martin says your video on diabetes helped him get his HbA1c down from 8.0 to 6.1. So he thanks you very much.
awesome. You know what, John? I'm glad to hear that. And somebody else sent me a message the other day. She was like, man, her husband saw the video, got encouraged, started doing his thing. I really appreciate when I hear people that are changing their lifestyles. And my message may not be to the masses. And, first of all, people's like, all right, you call the ministry, whatever, you don't have a church, whatever. Jesus never had a church, but he ministered, and his ministry was amazing. So everybody is not meant to be inside a church. And I feel like right now I've reached more people than I would if I had, a small church in Orlando.
Well, very much so, yeah.
So it's, reaching one person at a time. To me, that's what it's all about.
Well, yeah, true. That's true. And like you said, inside the four walls, you want to reach as many people as you reach now. Because social media, you reaching.
I could talk all day about that. Because I feel like during the pandemic, a lot of our churches had failed us because they didn't know what to do. And a lot of people needed hope, needed inspiration, and they needed a word, not just on Sunday morning, but during the week, because sometimes that word get weak on Wednesday and Tuesday. So you need something to carry, something to lift you up during the week. And the real ministry is not done on Sunday. It's done during the week.
Right. Real ministry is right. So I want to switch gears from I want to go into real estate because you're a great real estate agent. So is now a good time? Do you think now is a good time to buy or sell?
I definitely, it really is. It's a good time to sell because there's limited inventory. It's been very limited for the past 3 or 4 years. So when you sell, you're going to have a lot of people who are interested. It might be a bidding war. It's a good time to buy also because the market is a little topsy-turvy too. Like there's some good deals. You know, the mortgage moratorium and the rent moratorium that has happened has put some landlords in some predicaments that they may not be able to, like, okay, like my tenant is not paying rent for 6 months. Like, I can't afford this mortgage anymore. What am I going to do? Sell. Hey, I got a deal for you sitting over here. So, it's good. It's a good time to buy. It's a good time to invest. You have these families, 19 families who's invested in the city in Georgia. I've been telling people to do that forever. Let's get together, invest some money. But the problem is that systematically we have been programmed to not trust each other. So we are not easy to jump in on something like that. Sometimes it takes a traumatic event for a lot of us to move into our purpose. Just like Superman, his father died, Spider-Man, Uncle Ben died. Sometimes it's traumatic event to push us to find out where our power is at. So a lot of traumatic events have happened and people are starting to make moves. I think even Big Bill just bought some property in Atlanta, to invest in a black town. We need to start doing not just in towns, commercial properties, investments. Real estate is the number one method for African Americans to achieve wealth, but we are at a 50-year low in African American home ownership. And it's because we have not been advertised to, we have not been programmed, and everything. We have been taught to believe that it's okay to live in an apartment for the rest of your life and make somebody else rich because that's what they want you to do.
You're right. But why do we accept that?
Because nobody is telling us not to, but I'm saying it. Do it. And then no matter what your situation is, and you think your credit, first of all, you can get a house with a minimum 580 credit score. Now, the terms are not going to be the best, but you can improve your credit score over 4, 5, 6 months, a year. It may take a year or a year and a half to improve your credit score, but it can be done. I have to say, there's a lot of these credit repair companies out there, and a lot of it's just multi-level marketing. It's designed to get you to pay every month to help repair your credit, but they really are not guaranteed to have any results. So you have to be careful. A lot of mortgage lenders out there have credit repair companies, or they also have credit analyzers in-house. You can repair your credit for free or very little money, and I suggest that you actually use something that a mortgage lender is going to recommend because they have a vested interest in making sure that your credit score goes up because they want to get you into a loan.
Right. Now, you said, correct me if I'm wrong, make sure I heard you right. You can fix your credit score for free?
Yes. I fixed my credit score at one time. Look, I had a situation where I had to take care of my family and it hurt my credit. It did. And I had to raise my credit score 100 points, and I did it on my own. And I've owned 3 houses.
Wow. How long did it take you to raise 100 points?
It didn't even take that long. It took 5 months. Yeah. If you got some money, it could be done immediately. And see, so what happens is that you go to get your credit pulled by a loan officer, but you got to be careful because everybody is not. Some people don't care. Like they don't want you if your credit is not right because you're not ready to buy right now. But there's some people, like I have my guy in Atlanta, like he works with people. So he'll work with you for 6 months to a year to make sure that you get your credit right. And because at the end of your credit score going up, he knows that you're going to buy a house from him because guess what? He helped you to get your credit score up. So you've got a long, term relationship and you trust him. and also I'm endorsing him because he's good. So there's a level of trust, and the work is being done. You're gonna, when you're ready to buy a house, you're gonna definitely go through him, and especially if he can get you, if you're a first-time home buyer, there's a lot of free money out there. In Atlanta, you could buy a house and get $25,000 towards your down payment. But so many people do not take advantage of it because a lot of people are not talking about it. A lot of realtors don't want to deal with it. Some mortgage lenders don't want to deal with it. But the money is there, and a lot of people are really not taking advantage of it.
Right. Oh, to answer your question, Dante Morrison, no, that's not what this man said.
What was the question?
He said it takes 5 minutes to improve your credit. No, he said it took him 5 months to raise his score 100 points.
Now, to approve, I mean, your credit score might be there. You can get your approval right there. But, every situation is different. So you can't put a set or an average time. Everybody's situation is going to be different when it comes to, working on their credit. But you should start the process. And don't be discouraged and think that you can't. Because, give an example. You could buy a house in it. I sold a young lady a house in Atlanta last year. Her mortgage was less than the average rent. She had a 5-bedroom house. Her mortgage was like $1,200. Like if you wanted to rent a 2-bedroom apartment in Atlanta, especially somewhere, it's going to cost you somewhere near that.
Like 13. It'll be 13 or 14.
Exactly.
When I was in Atlanta last year, I saw I was just looking because I'm interested in Atlanta, and I saw a 2-bedroom, and it was going at that time it was $1,550. I thought Atlanta was cheaper.
No, especially if you're moving in certain parts. So mortgages are less expensive than rent, especially right now because the pandemic has driven down the mortgage rates. So it's really affordable, to own a home right now, and it's going to be less expensive than your rent. And then plus you're going to have tax advantages. You're going to be gaining equity. You can, take the equity out of that home, pay off all your debt, consolidate your debt instead of paying whatever your high interest rates, are on your car. Paying 3-4% on your money. It's just a smarter way of doing business. And this is what we have not been taught traditionally from generation to generation, is being smarter about our money. Like stop putting our money in just any old bank account and start shopping around and make sure that we get the best interest rates on our money.
Right. Now, before we get out of here, I want to invite you back on a show about that because there are a lot of people who want to buy homes, buy homes and invest. Because you're talking about investing. So I would love to invite you back, and we have a show about financials.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a few videos on, how to buy a home and invest in real estate. So it's kind of like a part of my whole rebranding. Like I have a whole training series coming online. I have my new book coming out, the What's Blocking My Purpose, and then I'm actually doing a video series that accompanies the book, of What's Blocking My Purpose. And then I already have a second book coming out after that called What's Blocking My Relationship Status. So
I like that. So when will the book be out?
Podcast, all of that in coordination with the book. And there's going to be a lot of free stuff. Then there's going to be some stuff that, people can buy online.
Now, when will your book be available?
It's actually, it's finished, and I'm sending it over to the editor, and then they're going to do all the reformatting and everything like that. So it's going to be pretty soon, and the website launch and all that is going to be pretty soon. So in October, for sure.
Oh, cool. Look forward to that.
So people can buy it. It'll be an ebook. It'll be available on different platforms, Kindle, all of that. So I'm very excited about this, and it's been a lot of research into, what has been holding us back as far as reaching our purpose. And I talk a lot about, kind of rewiring and retraining our whole mind and our whole thought process and new strategic ways of thinking about how to achieve our goals. And then also kind of like understanding what our purpose is in life. A lot of times we confuse the gifts of our provisions with the gifts of our purpose. Like Jesus' gifts, he was a carpenter, but that wasn't his purpose. But if you get stuck being a carpenter, then you never fulfill your purpose.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being here. Like you said, it's been a while. We've been trying to get this together forever. But thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to sit here with me. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I hope that somebody was helped.
Yes. That is the purpose here at Kandid Konversations. We want to inspire, motivate, encourage you to do whatever it is you want to do. Never let nothing stand in your way. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Chris Frazier. Thank you, everyone who watched. And good night. Have a great
Keep doing
week.
what you're doing.
Thank you. Everyone have a great week. Be blessed. And in spite of everything, keep pushing. Good night.